Hey, welcome back to Cool Toys. We are midway through the season, actually a little farther for season 2, and a lot of fun with our Jeep that started it all. So because of that, we're back here in the Tahoe Truckee Basin. Beautiful area. We've got our Jeep out. We're going to do a little off-roading, go do some crawling. And on the way up, it was 103 to 105 degrees through the Central Valley. A lot of noise. 85 decibels for a basic Jeep at 70 miles an hour, pushing a brick through the air. We cannot get silence, but we can try to make it a little quieter, at least Jeep says so. So, we made a mistake. Sound-wise, adding these Rhino racks, that adds 1 decibel. Now, if you have the square Thule racks, I've read that adds as high as 3 decibels of noises added. Because as these things vibrate, it adds a little bit of wind sound to the top of the roof. Now, we added, for the surfboards, Beach Street, these great aero pads, but they add another decibel of noise at 70 miles an hour, and they take away 1.5 miles per gallon. So we took them off for the long road trip up. We put them in the back with Chloe, who was just hanging out, doing nothing. So today, we're going to put a headliner kit in here. Now, Jeep tells us the headliner kit adds insulation to help cool the cabin in the summer, keep the heat in the winter, and it reduces the interior noise. Now, we're not expecting a lot. We know our baseline is 85 dB for a clean Jeep at 86 at 70 miles an hour with the Rhino racks, and 87 with the Decine foam pads on the roof. So, our goal is to see what happens when it gets a little less than that. We're not going to test the heat. There's lots of videos out there that talks about how the insulation works, so we're not going to take those videos as valid, but nobody put a sound meter in there, so we want to check that. And the truth is, it looks kind of cool with a headliner in it. So, we chose the Mopar factory. There's a couple other brands, and I'll talk about those in the studio, what the differences are. So, we're up here in Tahoe enjoying the day, and let's head back in the studio and get this headliner put in, see how it works. So here we are back in the Cool Toy studio where it all started. This is where we put the first Jeep Halo headlight in. And it's kind of got a little warm spot for me because this is where the show started. Now, I started a blog called Cool Toys a bazillion years ago. And when we started the Tic-Tac-Toe show, we realized the name Cool Toys that we already had was the better name. So we changed the name. And today, we're back in the studio with the Jeep for another modification. Now, we drove up from Southern California through 103 to 105 degree heat, like we talked about when I was down at the river on the way up here. And that heat can be stifling. And you know the Jeep Wranglers, they only have the 4 little vents up front. They don't have rear air conditioning. They're not luxury vehicles. They're meant to do something outside. They're cool toys. So, the $800 dealer factory headliner kit is available. $200 right there. But we're going to put it in today, and we'll drive back to Southern California and see how it does. So we're going to open that up in just a second, but when we got here to the studio, we had another toy waiting for us. So, if you've got cool toys you need to protect, Pelican cases. We use them for all of our still cameras. We picked up another run-and-gun camera, as we call it, the XF100 Canon, and that's what I'm talking to you on right now. This case is for that camera, so we're going to open this up too. Now, one of the little tricks, if you don't mind color, is that the Desert Tan is cheaper than the fancy black one. So, you know, I got sick of being in the desert for a little bit of the tan, but the fact of life is cheaper sometimes is better if it's the same product. Now, this is also last year's model. There is a new bigger, better, better, faster model, so they tell me, but this one TSA sized to fit in the overhead compartment, so I can take the camera with me. So this little one is TSA approved, and it is a cool little toy. We got the Desert Tan because it's less expensive, and I don't really care about the color. So you'll notice these little squares here. This is what I'm going to pop out. I'm going to lay the XF100 right on top of this and pull all these squares out to the exact shape of the camera. So we'll do that in a little bit, and we'll time-lapse it maybe to make it faster for you. Just watch me go through it. So let's get back to our headliner kit. Alright, so now we've got the Pelican case put away. we'll get back to that later. Let's get to why we're here today. This kit, the headliner kit for the Jeep Wrangler. This goes inside for those of you with a hardtop kit. This goes in the headliner. Now, there's a whole bunch of them out there. There is a very thick foam one that is supposed to reduce the interior sound 3 decibels. Now, I will tell you that would be impressive given the noise that the Jeep has. So we'll talk about that a little bit also. The logarithmic sound, like I talked about out there in the field, the addition of the roof rack and the addition of those foam pads I showed you out there made a lot of noise. So we took the foam pads off for the long run, saved a little gas mileage, and we got this now for the inside, if I can get it out of the box. Some of our sticky stuff has stuck. So, the first piece we have is large. This goes obviously in one of the back sections of the ceiling of the Jeep. On the back side, you can tell that it's foam and it's covered in what looks like indoor-outdoor carpet. Very much what I would expect the Bedrug brand to look like. Now, Bedrug, of course, good company. We chose the factory one just because we wanted to see what the factory offers. We've got a bedbug one, and here's for one of the T-tops. So we'll put that there. And here's the one that might be a little difficult because of the speaker location, since our Jeep does have a different speaker system with the roll bar mounted speakers. So this is a window, and so it's pretty nice, complete kit. So here's another back panel for the ceiling of the Jeep, and reaching in for that last piece of window. Should have another T-top, shouldn't we? There it is, way down there. And the last T-top piece. So pretty straightforward. All we're going to do is go out, pull this off, stick it up in the ceiling, and then we'll test it and see what it is. So we did notice there's a lot of difference. Now the other brands, like I said, there's a foam one that's about this thick. What I didn't like about it is it had a finish on the top, but it had the exposed foam all the way around the end, so we didn't choose that brand. But if you like it, we've got a link to it down below. There's also the Hotheads headliner. That one, a little bit higher quality than this, and it had the Sound Assassin option. Now, if you want this look with the carpet instead of their finished headliner style look with fabric, you can get any kind of Dynamat at every auto parts store and put it in the little grooves that you see up there in the top of the headliner. So, let's go up to the shop and put this in. So here we are back in the garage with the Jeep. Same garage we put the halo headlights in, and now we're going to do the headliner kit. So the kit that I showed you down in the studio, we've taken it apart, we've got it ready to go. All I've got to do is peel off these strips and stick it up here. But I'm not going to do that first. I'm going to check fit. Yep, I got the right year. It exactly fits. Now I'm going to clean it with an alcohol-based cleaner. I'm going to clean this entire surface, and I'll tell you why. Because any fingerprints, anytime it's been serviced, anything up here can cause the adhesive to fall off. And if you use a non-alcohol-based, something that's really good at grease cutting, like those orange ones or the green one, they do leave a residue that can actually eat the adhesive. That's their whole point, is they scrub all that stuff off. So we're going to use Spray Away Glass Cleaner. It's alcohol-based. It is very low residual, if any, when we're done. And it'll let me clean up both sides very quickly and move on so we can get these installed and get back on the road and see how we did. So, and the panels, if you remember looking at it quickly, you'll see that the adhesive strip went all the way around the edge, so I'm getting that first, and then right here in the middle. That's the key thing. And then I'm going to do the same on the passenger side to get it ready. One last wipe down with the dry on both sides. And again, because it's alcohol based, it'll break down the grease and it'll dry quickly without leaving a residue. So that's not the only brand out there, it just happens to be the one that we choose because it's widely available everywhere. So there you have it. Now, go back and make sure I got the right one again. It is. So we're just going to peel off these little adhesive strips. There's that one. Moving on. Okay, we now have headliner inside, all the way around in the back. One more piece to do in the middle, and we're done. That's the one that may need the roof to come up because the speakers on the roll bar get in the way, so let's go try. So here I am in the middle of the Jeep, the hardest one. This one, the factory says the roof needs to be lifted, so you can get your hands up here to put it in. Let me show you why. I've got it slid over the back part of the roll cage coming in from the aft door, from the back door and the back window, so I can slide it up here to check the fit. So as I slide it across the roll bar, you can see there's very little wiggle room. So if any of that adhesive tape sticks, we're out of luck. But it goes in just like that, and that's where it will fit. So the question is, do we do the CoolToys thing, shortcut it, and try to put it in? Or, as I'm getting dirty looks from the camera crew, or do we go back to the studio in Southern California and put it in there? Tough call. I think we're going to try it here. Very, very carefully. We can get something in here to lift it up, like a painter's stick. That might work. But do we risk it? I think the answer is yes. So you might get to see a big mess. You might get to see a guy get lucky with his Jeep, that is. But it is tight up under the speakers. Hey, what is all this? We've definitely been out off-roading. We got some dirt up here in the grill of the speaker. That's a good thing in a Jeep. So now we'll pull this back down and peel everything off. But I'm going to leave this back section on. So what I'm going to do is just peel the front and these two sides, get them up in there, and then I'll come back and very carefully peel that one off. But I will make a buddy peel. So I'm going to peel just a corner and then leave it hanging off to the side. So that way I've got less chance of sticking to something. So like when painters tape, they'll peel it over like this so it's available to them. So we'll do that on each of these 4 pieces, and then we'll give it a shot. Well, it's in, so the two corners here and here are not quite in, so I'm going to grab a paint stick and see if I can tighten them up. Well, I couldn't find a paint stick, so we're going to try a crescent wrench, see if this will get up in there just right. I think we got it without taking the roof off. So here we are back in the studio with the really cool Pelican case, and look at the foam inside. Nice and easy. You push down, you see these little squares. These just pop out. So I set the camera right on top, lay it out, start popping all the squares out. So let's do this in fast speed motion. I'll lay the camera on here and boom. Before you know it, we're going to have a perfect fit for our Canon XF100 run and gun camera. So there you have it. We've got the entire headliner kit put in without taking the top off. Might be a little problem in that corner up here over the speaker, but we're willing to live with that for the time that it saved us. We'll check it when we get back to the Southern California studio. Time to take the Jeep out, see how it does, see if we actually feel a little better inside, see if the road noise quiets down. We'll put a decibel meter on it and let you know in the next episode. So for now, if you think you've got a cool toy, send it to us so we can put it to the test. Until then, we'll be on the road looking for your other cool toys and all the great stuff that's out there. So, thanks again for watching. Until next time.